Okay, so I'm live with Sarah, and Sarah Hatjipavlis in Greece. Have I pronounced that correctly, Sarah?
Hatjipavlis. It took me 10 years to learn how to pronounce my own name. Still don't say it right, but there you go.
Well, I'm Debbie Skyrme, and I've got an equally strange name that nobody can pronounce. And I'm a celebrant in Spain, in southern Spain. So what about you, Sarah? Whereabouts are you?
Okay, well, Debbie, as you know quite well, I'm based on the island of Rhodes in Greece. I met a man on holiday in a bar and I married him when I was young and crazy. So I've lived in Greece for many years. So yeah, I'm Sarah Hatjipavlis, as you said so rightly, and I am a celebrant in Greece. And my business is Grecian Ceremonies.
Grecian Ceremonies, lovely. And we've hooked up, haven't we? We went through a Celebrant Success Accelerator course, and we then met up through a group after that, a kind of an inner circle group. And we found that there have been quite a few parallels between our businesses, yours in Greece and mine in Spain, with destination weddings. For example, we don't actually go across to the venues so much and register ourselves there as a preferred celebrant, but we tend to connect more with wedding planners or even with the couples themselves direct. Do you find that's the same?
Oh, definitely, Debbie. I think both of us, I think working with destination weddings, any weddings abroad, most couples, a majority of couples are going to use a wedding planner. And they may not even know about a celebrant. So I think both of us are spending our lives educating the destination wedding planners about what's out there and what's available for couples.
Yeah.
And obviously, as you said, the couples that approach us directly, they already know a little bit normally about what a celebrant can do. So yes, it's not so much about the venues, but very much more about wedding planners and talking directly to couples.
And for me, I know you've just written a fantastic blog, The Difference Between Marriages and Weddings. And for me, that is so important that people understand that there is a difference and you can separate the marriage, the legal part, from the wedding, the ceremonial part. They are two different things. So I don't know if it's the same for you, but a lot of my couples, they contract their marriage in their own country. And that's just like 40 words possibly, plus their names. They sign a register, it's witnessed, and that's all it is. It's very unromantic. And then they come over to Spain and we have this beautiful ceremony that's written especially for them. And they ask, is it their real wedding day? And yes, flipping heck, yes, it is your real wedding day. You can't separate your marriage from your wedding. And that's the whole thing about a destination wedding. So tell us about your blog and how you describe that.
Well, I've just written another one since you saw the last one, all about what is a symbolic wedding, because this is the term that is used in Greece all the time by the wedding planners. And as you already said, marriage is the legal bit. Marriage is the bit where you just sign. You're signing your marriage paperwork. That's basically what it's all about. And even when you do have a civil legal marriage in Greece, you have the registrar there, you have a very simple ceremony, and you sign the registry on the day, but still you have to go down to the local town hall and do the marriage paperwork. They don't do that on the day. You still have to go along there a couple of days after your wedding ceremony. So what is a marriage? It's a legal bit, and the ceremony is the celebration of that marriage. I spend my whole time talking about this. This is called a symbolic ceremony in Greece, and the reason for that is that there's no legal paperwork done on the day. But does it feel symbolic, Debbie? That's the thing we're all talking about. It's so much better than the civil version. In Greece anyway, I've not ever been to a civil ceremony. I know we're very similar in a way that we both speak both languages as well. That is also very useful at being a celebrant abroad, that you speak Spanish and I speak Greek. And we also understand what the civil ceremony says, because in Greece, that is incredibly simple. Just like it would be if you decide to have a civil ceremony in your own country. That's exactly what it is. And in Greece, that's a Greek ceremony read out by the mayor in Greek. The couples can basically, they don't really have an awful lot of options for that ceremony. They say the vows that are written. In Greece, they can be given a reading which is not really of their choice, but is chosen by the authorities. And yeah, that's it. So there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. I mean, lots of people choose that route. That's very important to them. But my point is, why? My couples choose to go to their registry office just like yours. They sign there, they take the witnesses along, perhaps they tell the family, perhaps they don't, it's up to them. And that frees them up to have some ceremony of their choice, like you and I both create.
And also it means you can have your ceremony wherever you want. For example, if you have a wedding in the UK and you go through a registry office, you're then having to have it at a designated location within an approved premises. So you can't necessarily have it out in the garden of this beautiful hotel. You have to have it in the space that's been approved by the local council. And with a register office wedding, you can't have any religious content. And I don't know about you, but I have a lot of couples that are multicultural. We have Spanish marrying English, for example. I do a lot of bilingual weddings where I have some Spanish elements, some English elements. We've had, let me think, I've had a Sri Lankan marriage where they wanted to incorporate elements, perhaps religious elements, that you wouldn't have been able to have at a register office wedding. So I love the whole cultural side, the tradition side, the way that we can bring in rituals and things that are very important to people. Perhaps it reflects their heritage or their beliefs, or perhaps it's just something, I don't know, something visual that symbolizes them coming together on that particular wedding day. So tell me
it's very, you know, what you say is so much the type of couple that comes to me as well, because couples that have often are from couples of mixed faiths. That's the first thing they ask, is that we really want to have something from, you know, we're not so much religious, but, you know, the family would like a little bit from this side, a little bit from that side. Last year I did a wedding where the bride was Catholic, her mother was Catholic, and she was a practicing Catholic, and the groom from Iraq, actually, he was Muslim, and they wanted to have a mixed faith ceremony. It was the most important thing for them to have their families included. We had words from the Bible, Debbie, we had words from the Quran. You know, and so yes, that, you know, when you have a civil ceremony, you can't have any of that. Of course you can't. And this is what people are looking for, that we have a world that is full of, I mean, I married a Greek, you know, I had a Greek wedding with all, as you talk about the rituals and the Greek crowns, as we call them, the Greek Stephana, which you have, you're basically crowned by your best men. That's what it's all about. The best men in Greek are the kumbari, and they actually come along and they crown the couple and they swap the crowns around 3 times. It's all a very religious part of the service. It's basically all to do with the Father, Son and Holy Ghost, and it's also really crowning you king and queen of your home. But I have couples, because they love Greece, they want to do this in their ceremony, right? And what a lovely photographic opportunity. You see in the pictures, you know, when you have the crowns and you look at the blue waters and all this, it's fabulous. We don't do this in a religious way at a ceremony that I lead, but we do this in a symbolic way of they're tying the knot, they're going forward together as a couple and moving forward as partners for life. And that's what a celebrant-led ceremony is all about. And of course, the people with the Greek heritage, like you say with the Spanish, lots of couples that have come, maybe granny was Greek, or maybe they don't live in Greece, but they live elsewhere, they live in Australia, in the States, in Canada. They want something Greek, but they don't want a traditional Greek Orthodox wedding, and neither can they probably have one. So they want something else. So that's what we do.
No, we're exactly the same, and we've got so many similarities and parallels with you. We have the Arras coin ceremony here in Spain, for example, and I was supposed to be translating a Spanish Catholic wedding recently. Obviously it's been rescheduled because of the situation we're in at the moment, but the Arras coins are essentially a religious ceremony nowadays. The 13 coins, so you've got parallels in the Bible there. I won't go through that, but what we have now is a lot of couples coming over and they want a Spanish element in their wedding. So I bring in the Arras coins, but instead of having the religious connotation or the fact that the bride might be accepting the coins to say that she will look after the household finances, which is so last millennia, nowadays we get the bride and groom to present the coins to each other in the name of something that's important to them, in the name of trust and honesty and passion and humor and whatever the values are to them. So again, like you say, it brings in a lovely cultural respect, if you like, to where they're having the ceremony.
It adds so much to the ceremony.
And it's a modern ceremony. It's a modern wedding.
Absolutely.
It's got all the things that you're accustomed to kind of hearing at a wedding. But it's a twist, isn't it? And it's so personal, and it really reflects the personalities, I think, of the people that we have at our weddings and our couples.
Well, I think also, Debbie, as you know, I mean, the other thing is we don't normally meet our couples in person before we get started. That's the other thing. So we meet them on the internet, right? It's perfect technology. We're using Zoom, Skype, WhatsApp, or whatever we're doing, and there they are, and we talk to them. And but we're there from the very beginning of the planning process. We don't just show up you know, on the day and read out the thing. You know, we get to know them, and I know for a fact that you get to know, you keep in touch with your couples and they become lifelong friends. For us, it's more of a vocation than a job, I think, as a celebrant. And for me, I cry at weddings, okay? I'm not at the weddings I do. I try not to cry at those, but I get very emotionally involved, and I think it's all about that. I think it's all about the emotion that we add to the ceremony, the way the families can take part. That's what we do. That's what life is all about. And yeah, whether you have rituals or you don't have rituals, yeah, you want to a celebrant there to make your special day truly special. So it is going to be the best ceremony that you'd ever dreamt of, and not a ceremony where you are all dressed up, nowhere to go. They're all there. I've seen it so many times. I've worked in tourism for years. All the family beautifully dressed. Ceremony took 5 minutes. They're still looking, thinking, when was the ceremony? You know, that's the pity. It seems such a pity that they don't know that there is another option out there. So that's what we're doing. We're there to tell people what we can do when people choose a wedding abroad. And of course, there are many benefits. What do you think the benefits are, Debbie?
Oh, wow. Well, I've got to say sunshine. I have to say sunshine. We have 320 days on average sunshine a year here, which means that extends the wedding season, doesn't it? So we start our wedding season from April, but I've had weddings in January and February, and we've had beautiful sunshine. And we go right through to the end of October. I'm very lucky in that even this year I've got 10 weddings across September and October. But I've had weddings in December, and again, we've had beautiful sunshine. So I can't guarantee that it's going to be as warm on a December day as an August day, but the wedding season's so much longer. And I think the benefit is that if you can travel out of summer season, then it's going to be so much cheaper for you as well. A destination wedding doesn't have to be expensive. I think that there are lots of ways that you can save some money. What do you think?
Well, certainly, I mean, we all know what weddings cost in the UK, all right? So that's where we're both originally from. So we know what a cost for wedding is there. So a wedding in Greece or in Spain or anywhere abroad tends to be an awful lot cheaper anyway. Everybody knows that, all right? So that's number one. Yeah, the weather, obviously the weather, because like yourself, in Greece, we've got the sun virtually 320 days a year. In Rhodes especially, it's a very southern island. So yes. The variety of venues also, and with the way things are going forward, also with couples perhaps choosing smaller weddings abroad, we can celebrate, as you already said, our ceremonies anywhere. So we can celebrate the ceremony, we can provide a ceremony in a villa. They don't have to be in a great big hotel complex. They can be poolside in their holiday villa, and then they can have all their caterers come around and do the dinner there directly after their sunset ceremony. Yeah, they can. You've done yacht ceremonies, haven't you? Yes, that's the same here.
Yeah,
you know, there's no way you'd have a civil ceremony on a yacht in Greece. That wouldn't be the case. And anyway, it wouldn't be. This is so much better. So yes, we can go to the venues. There are so much choice, and of course, they want the pictures, Debbie. They want the fabulous pictures of the beautiful blue waters, whether they be Spanish or whether it be the mountain views. I saw you did a fabulous sunrise ceremony, if I remember, last year. What breakfast? Didn't have a wedding breakfast or something like that. I mean, you know, the world is their oyster. They can do anything they like. That's the truth. So,
that one was a vow renewal, and I think vow renewals are becoming much more popular, particularly amongst the Americans and the Canadians that are coming over. They're doing like a European tour, and the Australians as well, and they're taking advantage of coming to fantastic locations like Barcelona, Sevilla, Madrid, our 3 big cities. But then they're contacting a celebrant such as myself, who can then take them out of the city and find them somewhere very secret and special and spine-tingly. And we're creating fantastic vow renewal ceremonies and elopements as well. I love the elopements where it's just the couple.
Yeah. Very, very emotional
Yeah.
elopements for the
Intense, aren't they?
couple. And oh, it's so intense. My very first elopement ceremony that I did, Debbie, oh my goodness, it was so emotional that I literally, once I drove away and said goodbye to that couple, I cried. I was so emotionally involved with those people. It was
Yeah.
incredible. But back to the vow renewals as well.
Yeah.
I did one in central Athens last year. It was a surprise it was an American couple, and he wanted to surprise it. They'd been married for 8 years. And we found a little corner, well, I found a little corner of the central park in Athens, and they had a very lovely moving, and they actually tied the knot and everything. You know, that's what's great about being a celebrant. We can do so many different things, whether it be big weddings. I love a big wedding. I like being big weddings, master of ceremonies, but I love intimate elopements too, where you get to know the couple. And it's so important that we do a good job. I mean, it's the wedding day. That's what I get when people say, is it going to feel symbolic? Of course not.
It's a huge responsibility, Sarah. And when couples say to me, could my friend be my wedding celebrant? Well, yeah, they could. But really? Do you really want to entrust the heart of your wedding day to a friend who hasn't got experience, who may not be able to emotionally detach themselves from you on the day, might find it completely overwhelming, has not got experience of holding a space, has not got experience of projecting to perhaps 200, 300 wedding guests? It is an incredible responsibility, and you and I have both invested a lot of time and a lot of money in our own continuing professional development. So it's not something that we take lightly. So yes, of course, anybody can be your wedding celebrant, but I wouldn't advise it.
No. One ceremony last year, I was going to write it for the couple. It was a huge wedding, and they had somebody planned to be their celebrant, one from the family. So I wrote the ceremony and said, okay, that's fine. I'll help them, in how to do it in the end. But the thing is, once they read the ceremony, they realized that it was totally, totally impossible for the family. And the family members said, I'm not doing that. Can't do that. Because once you write a ceremony, you write it in a certain way and a certain style. So ultimately what we actually did was, I did the ceremony. I went and did the ceremony in Athens. But we did have the bride's godfather help them with their intimate vows and ring exchange. And that I found was incredible. He was very confident, this gentleman, and he was a man of many world experiences. But it was perfect. It was the perfect compromise for a couple that thought that they were going to have a friend do the ceremony, but actually they had somebody take part just in a small part, and that works really well. I wrote this in my blog yesterday actually about family friends. I think you've got to have somebody that really knows, really is really confident and can hold the space, because it is your wedding day. And you don't want it fluffed up. Not really.
And I think it's like with any profession, and being a celebrant is a profession. If you do it well, it looks easy. But people don't realize that while we're all nice and calm and like a swan on the top, we're paddling like hell underneath, and there's 101 things that can go wrong and that we're completely prepared for. But somebody who's doing it for the first time, it might throw them. So.
Absolutely. I mean, the last minute and the wear of the rings, or you're throwing a flower ceremony and there's no roses, or all sorts of things that happen at the last minute. Or I mean, you've got to. That's what we do. We're there. We look after our couples. We're there as a rock for them throughout the planning process. We get involved, we're emotionally connected, and we become part of we become an integral part of their special day when they choose this way. And what better choice than a celebrant ceremony abroad? I'm all about promoting that for any country, and back in the UK for couples now that are struggling with the registry services and aren't able to get the paperwork done. Don't bother, have a celebrant, for goodness sake. You can have your ceremony in your garden. Why not, when the weather's good? And if you are thinking to come abroad, then think of a celebrant-led ceremony and go to your registry office and do the paperwork. Paperwork in Greece is complicated. I don't know what it's like in Spain. It's not impossible, but there's a great list of it for varying countries.
Incredibly frustrating, Sarah. Very frustrating paperwork here in Spain. So and we actually have an actual third option. We can go to Gibraltar. So Gibraltar is a British overseas territory. It's let me say about 40 minutes from Malaga. I'm about an hour from Malaga here. So so couples can fly into Gibraltar. They can go to the Gibraltar Register Office and have, in essence, what is a UK register office ceremony.
Right.
And anybody can do that from all over the world as long as they have a visa to travel. So it's very easy. The paperwork is a doddle. And then they just actually step over the border. It's not, people think Gibraltar's an island. It isn't. It's just a spit of land which is attached to Spain. It's a very strange place. It's a bit like Disney World. But yeah, they can have their ceremony then back over in Spain, in Granada or Malaga or Marbella, wherever they want. So tell me, if people want to get in contact with you, Sarah, how do they do that? What's your website?
Okay, so my business is called Grecian Ceremonies. My website is www.grecianceremonies.gr. You can contact me by email, info@grecianceremonies.gr, and I am everywhere, Debbie, just like yourself. I'm on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and everywhere. I don't know what else I haven't mentioned. On all the various social media channels. You can find me there looking up Grecian Ceremonies. And yeah, it's always good to talk about anything ceremony related, wedding related. Love it.
Okay, well, I'm about to run out of battery, so I'm just going to say I'm Debbie Skyrme, celebrantspain.es, and I'm at Celebrant Spain across all social media. So thanks everybody for watching, and I'm just going to click stop recording before my battery runs out. Sarah, thank you so much, and I'll catch up with you soon.
See you later. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.